Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the expansion for Bonfire. We're going to look at the Trees and Creatures expansion. We're going to talk about what it does to the solo game and help you understand if this is something you want to pick up from a solo standpoint or something you want to avoid. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so much for your support. So this game, this expansion comes with a couple things. Number one, it comes with the components for a 5th player, which doesn't do anything from a solo standpoint, so we're just going to gloss right over that. It comes with a nice little sticker sheet, which makes the bits look a little bit more fun. I mean, I'm not going to lie, they're a lot more fun looking now than they were before. That's an ancillary benefit, something fun, but not something that would necessarily be essential in my opinion. It comes with this group of creatures, which basically works like this. You draw a couple at the beginning of the game, choose one to keep and discard the other one. And these give you permanent bonuses for the rest of the game that are all positive. So this is a very helpful feature. It's also very helpful because it gives you a leg up, and the AI doesn't get these, which is fine because I've never even come close to beating the AI in this game, so at least the base game. So having some advantage that is unique to me, I think is a very big plus from a solo standpoint. Other thing it comes with is this deck of events. Every time you play one of your fate tiles over there, you will draw a new event which will go into play and immediately be something that is positive. So each of these events is something that makes the game a little bit more easier for you. And there's all sorts of different things. So for instance, this is a very simple one. When you place, a neutral guy, you also, or maybe it's just one of yours, not necessarily neutral, you get a gold, So there's little things here. This one lets you not have to move that center bonfire and just take the space it's already currently on. So you can see there's a variety of things that enhance the actions you should normally get. And it transitions throughout the game. So every time you place one, you'll lose your current bonus and you'll get something else. And then finally, the biggest thing I would say from a mechanic standpoint are these tree tiles here. The way the tree tiles work is that you are trying to place them, as you can see over here, above your portals. If they match a completed, activated bonfire and the portal is open and everything else lines up, then they're worth some points at the end of the game too, usually. But they can give you different things. Sometimes when you get them, they'll give you an instant effect. Like for instance, if I get this one, I instantly get that. Here, this is an end game effect. So I think this one means that I'm going to get, I don't know. So the one thing I will tell you the icons are not easy to interpret. Some of them are obvious, but what the heck is this? You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I just don't know what I'm seeing here. So I've got to figure it out. And it's a look up. It's not the end of the world. They give you an appendix, but it's very cryptic. Anyway, you get to get those while you're doing your procession. So the way it works is when you move around your, I can't remember what they were called, but elders or shaman or whatever, when they stop in a spot that doesn't have one of these tiles, you can pick one up as long as you can afford to pay the cost of the tile, which is on the left side, right here, for instance. So I'd have to pay, one of those green resources to do that. And if my shaman or whatever you want to call it, isn't my own, but matches one of these colors here, when I finish my action, I'll get some bonus. So, for instance, this one said I can spend 1 gold for 2 points, or I just get 1 point. Or here, if I use this one, the neutral colored shaman, I can choose from any of these 5 stacks, not just the 3. This one, which I should have out here, would have additional tiles that you could take from top to bottom in the order that they come up, and there's one of each. And so that's the main thing, and that is also the only thing that the bot interacts with. The bot does not do anything with events. The bot does not do anything with these. The bot only interacts with getting those tiles the same way you would. And so they'll score for that. So that is the only thing that the bot will do in this game that will enhance their point value, is get those trees. Other than that, the game plays exactly like you expected it. And so it's very much similar to the base game with the mechanics of just having to understand this. The events are quite simple, and this being that it's, you know, a one-time thing you get at the beginning of the game, you look it up and then you take that bonus throughout the rest of the game. So that's what you're getting. And since I've already done a heavy review on Bonfire, I'm not going to play any special turns here. I just wanted to show you halfway through the game kind of what it looks like and describe each of those different components. And now I'm going to tell you about what I think from a solo standpoint. So you've gotten a pretty good overview, I think, about the contents of the Bonfire expansion, trees and creatures. So this is what I'll say. Number one, the expansion does not add too many things that would make this game way more complex. Once you figure out the nuances of the trees and how you place those, it really blends in pretty easily. The event cards, you basically have to look them up. And when I say look them up, they do give you this handy dandy appendix, which is good. So it tells you every event here. The trees are illustrated, what they do here, and your creatures are over here. So this is very handy and essential because I cannot really interpret what these icons really mean based on the cryptic kind of view of them. Okay, so that would be something that would be a little bit nicer, but again, this whole game had those icons like that, so you have to just kind of memorize things and get used to it. It's not the end of the world, not a big deal. I think the best thing about this from a solo perspective is that it makes the game a little bit easier for you so you can feel a little more competitive with the solo game as it was, because I never even got close to beating it in Bonfire, and I think they even knew that, which is why they talked about the handicap of, you know, you're trying to figure out what score to use and give him minus points or you plus points or whatever the situation was to balance it out. I like doing this, and I think it provides me at least a little bit more feel that I have some advantages built in that can help me to try to outscore him. Yes, he does get points for those trees, but there's conditions on the trees and such that you can use, and there's, again, those creatures and the events. There's a lot more things that I think help kind of balance the playing field, which I think is good. The overall mechanic of the tree, honestly, is not that interesting to me. I will be honest. I mean, to me, that's actually my least favorite thing about the actual expansion, because in a lot of ways, the bonuses and the things that they add are very similar to the kinds of activation or the gnome cards you get, either the gnome cards for the end game or the gnome cards for the game throughout. They're just more of that same stuff. So the specifics on what you get there are not that interesting. But I do like the events because that changes up the specialties of where you can do things in the game, and I think it's really a lot of fun because it changes your focus all of a sudden to say, ooh, if I can do this, I should focus on this now because I'll get some extra benefits, maybe some extra points or something of that nature, and that's good. And I do think it's cool to have an asymmetric start with those creatures. So those two things, the events and the creatures, I think are my favorite thing. The tree is okay. I will always play with it just because it's one more thing to make the procession action a little bit more powerful. I always thought that action kind of stunk just because you were trying to basically go as far as you can and then slide into a gnome space, which was good, but there was nothing, it just wasn't all that compelling to stop on each of the portal spots to get that resource. Now there's a more compelling reason to do that. I think it kind of rounds that out. That's just my personal opinion. However, my big negative about this is that the expansion's MSRP is quite high. I had, in my flags, it was $43. I think that's an extremely expensive expansion for what you get. Now, yeah, you do get a 5th player component, and you do get some nice stickers, but that's a price of a game. I mean, it really is. I would have thought that the price point on this would have been more like $30 flat. Gone are the days where something like this would be $20. $20 expansions now are very small in nature, and I get it. The cost of everything has gone up, so I'm not really complaining about the publisher ripping anybody off or whatever. It's just a fact of life now, I guess, that's what it's going to cost. But I'm not sure, unless you really love this game like I do, that the price of this isn't a little bit punitive and a little bit of a, all right, that's not enough of an enhancement for the money. I'm glad I have it, but I think if I had played it solo a couple times and I could have thought, but I mean, I guess the thing that tips the scale for me is it makes you more competitive against the solo, but it's still a lot of money. And that's my major concerned about the expansion is it's just a bit too expensive. It's the price of a full game, really. Not every game. I know the price of games have gone up too, but I think everyone who's watching this can understand what I'm saying. At $43, there's a lot of games out there, full games out there that are in the 40s and 30s, etc. Maybe they're not very big, but they're still there. It's still a full game. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I hope that this has been helpful for you and for people who have been looking at this expansion and seeing, what do I get? It took forever to get to the States. I bought it literally the first day I could find it because I've been looking forward to it for a very long time, well over a year. I don't know what took so long, but it is what it is. So thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.